Are you ready for cocktails and conversations? Are you ready for cocktails and conversations? Are you ready for cocktails and conversations? With your host, the unapologetic diva, Dr. G, the girlfriend therapist, Dr. Cortina Lewis, and the networking extraordinaire, Diana Richardson Philippus. Are you ready for cocktails and conversation? This is Herspiration Happy Hour. Happy Hour. Happy Hour. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to another episode of Herspiration Happy Hour. This is season 9, episode 12. I'm going to get it together. This is your unapologetic diva, Dr. G.
This is Dr. Cortina Lewis, aka the girlfriend therapist.
And yours truly, Shay Walker, the coach of courage.
Okay, so it's Wednesday. And of course, as always, it is a winning Wednesday. And so what are we celebrating today?
I'm celebrating going to pick up Morgan. Yay, she comes home for a week. Then she'll be gone again.
Well, the clap is not for her being gone again, but it's for you getting to spend some time with her. Yay! Yay! And what about you down there, Hornball?
That's my win. So no, actually, I really want to acknowledge that I have truly become one with what the celebration of life really truly means. Mm-hmm. To honor and to cherish and not to spend too much time. I mean, take your time and do it the way you need to, but I'm just grateful to be able to get to this part of it so quickly and becoming one with it because I have such peace. And so I'm actually looking forward to the homegoing now. And that feels really good.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to shout out that your HRT is working? You don't have to give details, but I think most women
and I will.
Well, I'm just saying because most women who are looking for or are going through the change or have already gone through the change, and they might kind of be on the fence about hormone replacement therapy. So this has been a win for you because you talked about before, even on the show, struggling for a little bit to balance it out. So you want to say something really quick about that, just because I know this is kind of a good win for you.
Oh,
probably
absolutely.
Why it's also will also probably be, and it could be the way that your mood is set now because your hormones aren't everywhere, so you can process a little bit better.
Yeah, I would absolutely say I have clarity, and I miss that. You don't realize what you don't have until you don't have it.
Yeah. And
so I miss having mental clarity, feeling motivated again, like being able to really truly embrace the culture of courage again. I feel very encouraged. And so I do feel like that has had a lot to do with the hormone therapy. And then just resetting my libido, like I missed that part of me. I mean, I was functioning okay, but I feel like it was on love alone. And so now I've got everything moving in my favor, and everybody lift Alton up in prayer because I'm taking him down through there every chance I get.
Okay, so shout out to Alton, who's got he's got to show up and show up strong. So
literally and figuratively.
So my win for today is that even though I've been super busy, and everybody know I've been sharing that I started taking dance class and everything, like professional dance. And so I finally got to go today during my lunchtime, and I did not miss a beat. I was twirling and whirling, and I got new dance shoes. So this was the first day I got to wear my dance shoes, and it feels so different than doing the salsa and the bachata and the rumba and the tango. No, and the cha-cha. I did the cha-cha in regular shoes. And so I got to do them in my dance shoes, and I just felt so good. And I was dragging when I got in there. Like I really didn't want to go because I'm just tired. I get up very early in the morning. I have 12 and a half hour days, sometimes longer. but somehow I got in there and it lifted my mood. And I didn't realize how bad I needed the dance. So I got in there and everything came back and I was in my rhythm and I got to do turns and spins and it was so graceful. Even the new stuff that I didn't really know because I've learned to be led in dance.
Mhm.
So I danced so well. I'm proud of myself. So that's my win. Yeah.
I like that. Releasing
Yeah.
control. Let's get it.
Yeah. Now, so I have a video from when I danced a while back, and now I need to take another video so that I can see the change in my progress. So, yay. Okay. So, you know what, Cortina, what are we sipping on today?
Well, to represent our guest tonight, our drink tonight is called the Joy Amplifier. Hey. And
Okay.
so basically just think in your mind like a soft life energy with a little sparkle. And so basically the ingredients that you need for this drink is 1.5 ounces of vodka or tequila. Added the tequila for you. And that's your stuff.
No, gin is mine actually, not tequila.
That's right. That's what I meant, Jen. I always get those two mixed up because they're white. Yes. Okay. Yes. Sorry. I don't know. Anyway, tequila, we'll take it. I don't know about having gin in this drink, but we'll just do vodka or tequila, whatever you prefer.
Okay.
1 ounce of fresh pineapple juice, 0.5 ounces of fresh lemon juice, preferably squeezed, not necessarily out of the bottle. 0.5 ounces of honey syrup. And then, I can't go without this. A splash of elderflower liqueur, and that's what's going to give it its glow. And then you just want to top it with some Prosecco or some sparkling rosé. So what you do is you add the vodka, the pineapple juice, the lemon juice, the honey syrup in a shaker with ice. Shake until chilled. So, you're shaking, and now my hand is really cold. This is crazy because I'm thinking about what shake I'm talking about. Anyway, and then you pour it in a glass in a champagne flute, actually. Because we're giving it an elevated vibe. And then you just top it with the sparkling rosé or Prosecco. And then you add a light splash of elderflower liqueur to the top. And there you are. If you want to garnish it, you can always add a gold sugar rim or a lemon twist. And there you go. It's sweet and not heavy.
I was waiting on you to talk about your gold flakes. I just knew that I was going to make it in. I just knew it.
You know what? Gold sugar rim. We just gonna
look, and I was hoping she was about to bring the elderflower back. So we back.
We got the elderflower liqueur. I purposefully left off the edible elderflower that you could eat because I was like, I think I use it too much. So I think for the spring, I'm doing something a little different. I'm not going to, mention that. I got to find me a new summer edible flower. I got to Google some summer edible flowers.
What's wrong with the elderflower?
It sounds real good.
Because I want to give the drink a different look.
Okay. Look,
I think the elderflower has become our signature thing.
I think I just be using it too much.
I don't think we need to be trying to do too much switching up rules around here. Okay,
I know.
Let's keep it original. But
I don't even know what else would be
though.
I just don't know what other interesting flower that I would probably find edible.
They have a few of them, like I think the peony. You have the blue, because I have a blue tea. Well, I think it's peony, but I make blue tea with it. I gave it to my mom because I wasn't using it, and she uses it all the time. But that's edible too. It doesn't look like it. It kind of reminds me of those little flowers that bees fly on. They're really, really small with the super, super small petals. It kind of reminds me of that, but it's blue.
Like honeysuckle, those?
No. It's the
They're really, really small.
Yeah, they're like white or something, right?
They're white with a yellow in the middle. They're like
the little teeny tiny little.
They're really, really teeny tiny. Yes.
Yeah.
It looks like that, but blue.
Okay, and I only know that flower because when I'm walking Kofi, there be bees on them right now. It's the season of the bees, and let me tell y'all, one came in the house. He make it out.
Uh-oh.
He ain't make it out. I tried. I was nice. I was like, I don't want to have to hurt you, but he got slapped down because I wasn't going to fight him in the house, and he was not going to stay in here, not with me. He don't pay bills up in here. He can't stay here.
You can't live rent free. So listen, I just thought about another win. I got my braces off. I just thought about that. I'm good. Yeah. So yay me.
Okay. Yay.
Yeah. HRT and no braces. Whoop, whoop.
So speaking of braces, I had Invisaligns for like a year and a half. And I tell you, I'd rather just get regular braces.
Yeah.
I'd rather just get regular braces. If I don't plan to ever have to do it again. If these teeth get crooked again, I'm gonna be one crooked teeth woman because I'm not doing it. Anyhow, so I do see our guest on. So let me introduce her. Because first of all, when I had to ask, remember I jacked her name up last week. We're trying to introduce her, and I have to apologize for that because seeing it, I didn't get a chance to have the admin say, "Can you find out how to pronounce her name?" So I made sure and asked so I can give a proper introduction. So our guest today is Bose, spelled B-O-S-E, but it's pronounced Bose Akadiri, who is the Joy Amplifier. She is a motivational keynote speaker, a corporate trainer, author, and CEO of Goal and Grind LLC, where she partners with high-achieving professionals and forward-thinking organizations to leverage joy as a strategic advantage for setting goals, building strong teams, and creating meaningful results. Renowned for her dynamic corporate workshops, Bose empowers dreams, elevates teams, and transforms organizations. In addition to Goal and Grind, she has led a distinguished career in corporate social responsibility at Boeing, Salesforce, and JPMorgan Chase. So we are going to give a warm welcome and applause for Miss Bose Akadiri.
Hey, ladies.
Hi. So did I pronounce the last name correctly?
Oh, girl, you got it perfect. Like, seriously,
okay.
I'm very impressed. Like, at this big age that I'm at now, let's just say you're in the 1% club, okay? I was like, wait a minute. She's going for the last name. People don't do that. People don't do that. They stop at, okay, we got Bose.
Oh, they stop at Bose?
Mm-hmm, and I'm good with it. But you did it.
Okay.
Like, I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed.
All right.
Yes. Come on.
So the first name, of course, threw me off. Last names, oddly, I am very good with pronouncing last names for most people, even no matter how weird they are, because in most countries, after working for the State Department, you learn that the only time that vowels and all of that change is the United States. Almost everywhere else have a constant A-E-O. So Akadiri, the I's are always going to sound like E's. So, and the A's are always going to have an A sound. So I have learned to pronounce most people's names if they don't look American.
You know what? Thank you. That's a tip. I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that. Thank you.
Yes, you are very welcome. And so as you all travel the world, take note of that. That was one of my lessons as I'm a very cultural person. So I love different cultures. And one thing I always learn is like, let me see how to pronounce things. So when I'm going out to eat, I'm able to pronounce things correctly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
that makes sense.
So I want you, what I missed, I want you to introduce the rest of who you are and talk about your book as well.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we're getting straight to it. So there's my other side. There's my book, which before this, I was like, I have Miss Queen Michelle Obama here. And I thought, this is weird. Now I have to add my book. Where does it go? It's so I just have to say it's weird for me to have mine above her, but we're there now. But yes, so who is Bose? I'm a girl that's from Oklahoma that now lives in Chicago. And 12 years ago, I moved to Chicago, no job, no network. But what I had was what I call a life strategy, and it was driven by joy. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I knew where I wanted to do it. I knew what type of people I wanted in my life. And so I went after it.
Mhm.
People were sitting there like, well, what just happened? Like, who is this girl from Oklahoma that just showed up and got what she wanted? And I started teaching people, oh, these are the 5 steps. You know, I have this whole methodology. You follow this, and it starts with joy. It starts with understanding who you are at a foundational level. And from there, things just took off. So I've had my company for about 6 years, and my very first client was actually one of my coworkers at Boeing, hired me to come in and do this with her and her girlfriends. And after that, I got to see how it worked in their lives and got to see how it worked in other folks' lives. So really, the book is an extension of that work, because I realized not everybody's going to be able to hire me, but I wanted this method to be accessible to all. So that's who I am. I'm just a girl from Oklahoma that turned into a woman in Chicago.
Oh,
I
wow. I
that.
love that. Yeah, I love that. So I have to ask really quick, what inspired you just saying, I am going to author a book? Because that's a mighty feat just to make that decision. So what in your mind said, you know what? Now, not only am I going to teach the strategy, I'm going to package it, because that's essentially to me what kind of books are. So what made you decide to package it?
Right. So that's a really great question. And thank you for asking. I write almost every morning. It's part of my spiritual practice and also part of my grounding practice. And I've been doing that for about 5-6 years. And last year, after I left JPMorgan, so I'd had my business for about 5-6 years in conjunction with my corporate career. And last year, it got to a point where I'm using all my vacation time to go be with clients. So I think it's time that I have some vacation time, which means I got to quit corporate. So right after I left JP, I went to this conference, and my goal at the conference was, I'm going to be on stage here next year. This is a global conference, and Bossy's going to be on the stage. Okay, we're going to figure this out. And what I realized is all the speakers that I liked the most had a book at the bookstore. So to me, I was like, oh, one of my books is coming. I had always been writing. I always had the idea for 3 different books. And I said, I got to figure out which one. So from there, it was like a dead sprint of talking to all my author buddies, talking to different publishers, interviewing people, figuring out what I want to do. And I have to give a shout out to my publisher, Press 49, Bridget McGowan, another fabulous Black woman who has been with me on this journey. And that's really what did it, is I said, I don't want to show up to the conference half-baked. I want to come fully whole. And that's also when I realized not everyone works at one of these companies that's going to bring me in, but everyone deserves this methodology, because I believe we all deserve joy-rooted living instead of letting people should on our lives.
I have a question. So at what point in your entire life did joy become your number one priority? So at what point did it click for you, like, yes, this is the key. This is what I need. This is what I was missing. Was it like a pivotal moment or a defining moment where you made that transition to say, this is what I want to share with the world, and this is what has helped me?
It's 2-part. It's, first off, my mom raised me in a very specific way, to where she really protected my joy, and it was really important to her that I had joy. And to me, that's very interesting, because as an adult, I realized that's not how everybody was raised, right? I had 2 things. I had, you're going to have joy, and I had, you can do whatever you want. So my mom never asked me the question, why? Like I had a lot of ideas, y'all. Like, we're talking, I studied abroad twice, and not like your typical study abroad. Like, I was in Denmark, I was in China. This is before Facebook and all of that. So, and sometimes I think to myself, I'm like, was she scared? Like, but she never said, why do you want to do this? She always said, how? And so my upbringing of understanding that I deserve joy and that I can do whatever I want, like, I didn't grow up with a lot of like barriers. I grew up, knowing that I had endless possibilities. So as an adult, when people started asking about how I lived, that's when I realized, oh, I think this is a gift that God gave me, and I need to share it with others, because I started seeing people really not living in their joy and just doing the day to day and really hating it. You know what I mean? Like, you see people just looking like, why am I doing this?
Oh, I love that.
I love it. Bose, I would like to ask you. So I understand the joy. Oh, joy is beautiful. Okay. But I also understand the journey. Okay. And so during the journey, when you got to, if you had some challenges, I'd like to ask you, how did you tap into your faith during those challenging times? What did your faith look like?
That's a good question. I think what would not I think I know what would happen is I had to make sure that in order to not only me tap into my faith, that the people around me were tapping into it. And so in the book and just in life in general, I talk about having your joy squad and having people in your life that can essentially, I haven't used this word before, but like resuscitate you. Because there are going to be those hard times. There just are. Like, life isn't a constant high. There's the valleys, there's peaks. And so for me, tapping into my faith meant that community. And when I was in Oklahoma City, I actually worked at my church. So it was really hard for me to leave Oklahoma City, even though I knew my life wasn't there, because my whole family of faith was there. And that was my chosen church. It wasn't even the church I grew up in. It was the church I chose. So to answer that question, when I have tough times, tapping in my faith it's me with God, but it's also me with my joy squad, being in community.
Okay. So you mentioned Joy Squad. So who needs to be in that Joy Squad? Like, what dynamic or characteristic of people make up a efficient or effective or healthy or positive Joy Squad?
Well, we could say it in one word, and that word would be aligned. Aligned. Okay. That's it. Aligned. But I know you want more than one word. Okay. So
one word, not one word. Look, you're here and we all resonate with align. We talk about
all the time,
alignment all the time. But you know, the one thing that all of us have learned is there are situations in life that can misalign things. So how do you reel back that joy when there is any misalignment in your joy squad? It doesn't, because we don't necessarily believe that we have to boot you out, not unless it's disrespect. But there are some things that just naturally happen where someone's joy can falter a little bit, and it can kind of interrupt the alignment that you would typically have. And so what does that look like in order to restore balance back in that joy squad?
So first up, I want to say your joy squad is diverse. And specifically, I like to look at life in 4 key areas. So I have a different joy squad for each one. And those are personal, professional, health, financial. My professional, my financial advisor, she got no business being at the gym with me. Okay. She's not the trainer. And so first, the alignment, you need to understand which joy squad they're in. Right. So like your best friend doesn't necessarily need to be your mentor at work. Those are 2 very different joy squads. They're 2 very different scopes. So first, whenever you're thinking about alignment, you've got to think about which category are they in: personal, professional, health, financial. And I think a lot of people get financial and professional commingled. But at the end of the day, you have these finance goals and your career might not be supporting them. So you might need to change your career in order to support your finance goals. Bottom line. So they're not the same. So back to your question on the alignment. At a base level, I believe everyone in every single one of those joy squads needs to be able to cheer for you. And I don't just mean on their happiest days. I mean, if you call them with good news, even if they just had something terrible happen to them, they should be like, I'm so happy for you, right? They should be like, Dr. G, that's amazing. I'm pressing that horn so we can get the applause. Now, they can tell you what's going on with them and you empathize with them. But if they're not cheering for you in their bad times, then there's also that opportunity for different emotions to sneak in that will then be maybe disadvantage to you, right? That's when you start getting folks being jealous or, thinking, why not me? No, you need at your core people that can care for you. And I'll give you an example. I got the largest client I'd ever had last year. And I called one of my besties. I'm so excited. I'm going on and on. And after that, she told me she got laid off. She was cheering for me. She was so excited. And, the thing is, my good news brought her joy.
Yeah.
Her bad news.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't react like that, you got your bus. Who's in the front seat? Who's in the middle seats? Who's in the back seat? Who might need to get kicked off? And then bye-bye. The doors are open wide for you.
Yeah. One of the things that I think about is the different caliber of connections you have, right? Because I can have someone, and I think we talked about this previously on the podcast, with having different types of friends, because there are going to be some friends that I pray with. There are going to be some that might not even believe, right? And then there are going to be some friends that I know I can really confide in them. Not saying I can't confide in other people, but I know for a fact they're going to really hold me down if I need to share this. And then those friends that are just going to be like, this is my friend. If I'm up at 2:00 in the morning, I know that I can call them. So I think it's having discernment on what categories to put these people in. Because somebody could serve two purposes, but where do they best fit in my life? And I think that speaks to what you were saying. What's going to be the most effective use of this relationship? Not that we're trying to use anybody. And so I don't want anybody to take that away. That's not what Bossy say. That's not what I'm saying for Herspiration Happy Hour. But the best use, right? Because it's, especially if there are some lines that you don't want to cross, because I'm going to be very honest, even with some clients, I could never be their friend, but I'm looking at them because I know them. And I'm like, they would be so cool just to have in your life, but the ethics and boundaries keep that separate. And so I think it's very important that you said that, to remind people, defining the position that these individuals have in your life. If you are my accountant, you're my accountant, right? If you are my prayer partner, you are my prayer partner. If you are my mentor or my mentee, that's where you are. And I'm very clear on the type of relationship. So I'm not expecting something different because I'm thinking you are more than this. And then I am left upset or crushed because you didn't meet that expectation. Well, that's not the role. That's not the relationship. And so being very clear. And so when you are clarifying your relationships, what does that process look like for you?
It's just like interviewing for a job. You don't jump in and make the offer. You get to know them, right? It's like when I was trying to figure out who needed to be the publisher for this book, who needed to be the editor, all those things. I got clear with myself first, because before you can offer someone a role in any of your Joy Squads, you're doing them a disservice if you're not clear on what your needs are. It's a little more relaxed with your girlfriends and things like that, because maybe you just need someone to chill with. There's the fun friends, and then there's your like ride or die. Those are, they're two very different things. And so to me, in order to understand which position you're in on my bus, front, middle, back of the bus, which Joy Squad you're in, personal, professional, health, financial, I need to know first for myself, what do I have capacity for? What am I lacking? And this brings up an interesting thing, because I do this workshop on networking where I put up the 5 different types of your professional Joy Squad, which most people call your personal board of directors. And people really start to realize, oh, people might play one or two roles, but at a minimum, I need someone in each of these 5 categories in order to move my career forward. And I really like what you said about we're not using people. And even I would go even further to say this is advantageous to the people in your network, because if you don't have clear boundaries and you're trying to go to the same person for everything, you're going to burn them out and they're no longer going to be anywhere in your life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that was something I really had to practice while I was working on my book, because it's hard. Like writing a book is the hardest thing I've ever done. And I needed a lot of support. So one of my friends at the beginning of this sat down with me and said, I think you should make a spreadsheet and think about what each of us are best at. And so that you can just come to each of us for what you already know are our skills.
Mm-hmm.
Friends, I call them my lawyer besties, because once upon a time I wanted to be a lawyer. So by the grace of God, I got a bunch of lawyer friends, but then I don't want to be a lawyer. And I changed my mind. I changed my mind, right? So after I changed my mind, since when I was in undergrad, I was in the pre-law club, I was in the Black Law Student Association, yada, yada, yada. So a lot of my long-term friends are lawyers. Mm-hmm. So I go to them for the lawyer stuff. And I have other best friends that I go to for other things. But I think it's important to point out, it's not just about, people might think you're talking about using people, but you're actually protecting them. You're protecting your relationship by being clear with yourself so that you don't burn out and they don't burn out. It's really an act of love.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things you need to get to that place is self-awareness. Because if you don't have it,
absolutely.
No, like I'm burning my friend out. I'm not even looking at the cues they're giving me. Like, okay, what do you need now? Like, I'm not even paying attention to that. So being self-aware about how we're utilizing, and leaning on those individuals in our lives.
You know what's crazy? Now that I sit here and I think about it, I said I might have to do that, like write a sheet and what is important. But I think my problem is I don't talk to all my friends all the time. I barely talk to my friends. Like that's
nobody.
Yeah, you definitely don't. But what I do is I do engage with them every single day. I send a morning prayer to a bunch of people. It's like I have a whole bunch of people that I've been doing this well over 20 years, every day, Monday through Friday. And that's my connection. There are, like, the other host is not here, Diana. She and I might have, we might chit chat FaceTime sometimes during the day, but then before today, I don't think I talked to her a couple of days this week. And so I don't get an opportunity to physically talk to my friends unless something's wrong, and they call me. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be available. Mm-hmm. But a lot of my friends and I, the most we ever interact is when we get together for trips.
That is true.
It's very true. The rest of the time we are, unless we're talking about trips, birthdays, some kind of celebration. And I'm fortunate that I get to, my squad is who I also podcast with. Not all of them, but these are who I podcast with. So my connection on Wednesdays are with them. So and we're engaging online. And then after this is over, we go back to our lives. Just like, but anything happens, we are always there for each other any given time. So I don't think I have ever been able to categorize my relationships because we don't live near each other. We don't talk all the time. It's kind of hard for me. I don't know for you, Cortina, if it would be easy for you, but for me, I guess because I don't engage that much now, I can put other acquaintances or people who are not as close in categories. But my, as you say, Joy Squad, now we just all over the place, just kind of pop up here and there, but we vacation very well together, us and our spouses.
Yeah. So I would see it like this. So like my Joy Squad, I think I would have 2 categories of Joy Squads if we're using that example. I would have my personal Joy Squad, And then I would have my professional Joy Squad. So like my accountant, my trainer, my mentor, like those are all professionals, not to be crossed over with my personal Joy Squad, like those individuals that I said earlier. Like they're my Joy Squad as a whole, but they represent different categories of joy. So like prayer and party and relationship, like the married people and everything like that. So that's how I would see it. And both of you all, Bossy, you don't know this, but I'm not the biggest phone person. That's not me. I'm a therapist, and I just talk to people all day. So I don't really like talking when I come home. And so
you don't text either. You don't really text either. The girl, you look at her phone, she got over 1,000 texts that's not checked.
What do you do? If you don't text, you don't talk.
Look in your phone right now and tell me. But look in your phone and tell me how many text messages you have unchecked right now. How many?
Unchecked? Only one on this phone. And then
no, on that.
That's the client phone though. So that's why. So I'm more attentive to my clients than I am in my personal life. But I don't want that to be construed as like I'm an absent friend. Because if you definitely
she's not. She's definitely not. She's not. But we know that about her.
And I was going to say that. That's
we
the
know that
important
about her.
Part that I don't have friends that give me flack about it because they already know. And I think when it comes to your Joy Squad, you have to know the limitations and the capacity of those individuals. And so, let's just say I'm going to say my personal Joy Squad. Okay, accountant, I need this by Friday. I'm going to be very clear with that, not ambiguous, because can you get this back to me by Friday? Hopefully they'll say, yes, I can have this done by Friday. And then if they can't, then I got to see, are we still in alignment? Do I still need to be working with this particular person? But with your personal Joy Squad, knowing that it's important to know the personalities of the people that you're dealing with.
Exactly.
And so I think that I can only speak for myself. My own personal Joy Squad, they are intimately aware of where I am, what I need, because they know if I'm calling them for something, oh, okay. If I say like, I need a girls' weekend, like she must be really, something is happening, right. Something is going on. Right. And I appreciate that. And so I don't know if there's anything in your book that speaks to when you have your Joy Squad, you've identified them, but when you've outgrown certain individuals in your Joy Squad, and what does that transition look like?
So I really think that transition is different based on the relationship.
Okay.
Right. So if it's something that you've just outgrown them, like I think there are times when you maybe want to have a conversation and there's times when you don't. And you really have to evaluate that from a personal perspective of what's the impact going to be if I do or don't have this conversation? Or what's the impact going to be if I just pull back a little bit? Do a subtle pullback, because you also have to understand who that person is and where you see them in the future in your Joy Squad, as well as, are they receptive to this type of conversation, or is just this might do more harm to you or more harm to them? Sure. And I love, the therapist in you is coming out asking these questions, because these are the kind of conversations, that I have with my therapist. If I'm like, this person gotta go, talk about Joy Squad. That's what I use my therapist for. What we about to do? Person has gone too far. Right? And I love how we were talking about the dynamics between phone people versus text people. I am not a text person. Like looking at the computer screen all day, and then also from so much typing, I get really sore in the thumb and in the pinky finger. And the last thing I want to do all day is text. And so my friends know, like, especially if they get a random call in the morning, they know they're loved, because that means that's my happy time. That's when I'm doing my makeup, having a good time, chatting. And part of it's because I was in a sorority, okay? And
You said,
I was in a white sorority. So we lived.
okay. Okay. You said was. That was like you one of those denouncers. Okay.
Oh no. Okay. Let me back up, because I feel like there's such a big difference. Like when you're not in a divine nine, like the majority of it is when you're in college.
Yes.
So I always say like was, because like we all lived together. There was like 8 of us living in one house. So I got very used to getting dressed, doing my makeup, doing my hair, talking to my close friends. So even in my 40s, I still do that. So people know, like, if I'm really close to you, like, I like to talk to you for 10 minutes in the morning. Like, how's your day? What are you about to be doing? Like, I'm excited. Like, what can I get excited for your day about?
Okay.
But on the flip side, like, my friends know it might be like when you were asking how many unread texts, I have 27 right now. Like, I just can't. I just literally can't. Like, nothing stresses me out more. And you know what? Now it's a tell-all. Nothing stresses me out more than if I call someone and then they text me like, I'm gonna call you in 5 minutes, because then I'm really like this. And then when they don't call, I'm like, oh, they didn't mean that literally. And I'm just like, why are we having all this back and forth exchange that is just fluff when you could just call me? God will make sure we get on the phone at some point. Like, do y'all remember before you could text, I'll call you at 7. No, you're not. No, you're not. You know why? Because you got kids, a husband, all this. And I'm happy for that. But don't leave me with this, okay, you're going to call at this time and I'm waiting. We could just call whenever. Like, you don't need an appointment. I love you. You're one of my good friends. So I think, like you were saying, Cortina, you have to be clear with your friends. Like, my friends know. I might come back a week later and just continue that conversation.
Right.
Or I might pick up the phone and be like, that was really deep. Like, you sure you want that over text?
Yeah.
But my friends, they love it. They're like, I don't talk to anyone on the phone but you. And I really like it. Like, I really love it. And I'm like, yeah, I know.
I would say the beautiful thing about our Joy Squad is we may not talk on the phone every day, but we communicate every day, first thing in the morning, like every single morning. And even if they don't chime in, we know that Cortina has looked at it and she sees that everybody is good. Diana, she gonna jump in every now and again. She gonna thump. But Pam and I, we're always going to.
Yeah, active.
But what I will say is we may not talk on the phone every day, but let somebody call. Let the phone ring. Hello, you okay? What's wrong? Hey, girl, hey, what? Yeah. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get my nails done, girl. I love you. Bye.
It's the acting for me.
I love that about us, because one call, that's all. We're on it. We're on the money. Yeah, absolutely. Right.
So I do have a question for you, Bossy, because we talk about the intimate relationships in terms of personal. So let me just ask and gravitate to business, because in your professional life, you're not always calling the shots, especially if you came from 3 very high pressured, high cranking organizations or companies. How do you manage or maintain joy in the midst of high pressure environments?
So first, what I did was intentional connections with coworkers. So I think everybody needs to understand that in your professional Joy Squad, you can be friendly without being friends. Those are different things. And whenever I would go in initially, I was very open to people, and I would go to people and schedule meetings. So every single company that I worked at, I would jump right in the deep end and make sure that I had one-on-one meetings with folks. I would send notes. This is Bossy. I just started on the team this week. I would love to get to know more about your work. Now, I need to know about you, because guess what? I'm being friendly, not friends. This is professional, not personal. And that would empower me to get to know their work and therefore understand how we could collaborate. Whether we were on the same team or we were going to be working cross-functionally together. The other thing that I did when I was in corporate, every morning I walked around my floor and I said good morning to everyone. Till this day. So last night at dinner, we had a little crossover. One of my friends from JPMorgan is now in the personal Joy Squad. I love her. But she got to cross over from that professional. Not everybody can cross over.
No, I know. I have a few that's crossed over. Yeah, I get it. I get
need a lot of that, but every once in a while. And she still talks about, when Bossy works here with me, she would say hi to everyone in the morning. You don't have to have a conversation with them, but acknowledging people.
Yeah.
And what I came to realize is there were people that no one ever spoke to. You know what it's like to go to an office that has over 100 people on your floor, has tens of thousands of people in the building, and no one talks to you?
Right.
I don't know, because I'm that cheery morning person. Good morning. They like, can you turn that down some? I'm like, look, I have to be happy to come up in here, right? I'm working hard. So I have the tendency to say hi to everybody. I don't care who you are. Walk by, good morning. And it's good chipper. Morning. It's not no regular, oh, hey, good morning. Nah, good morning.
I think that's how you was. I think that's a rearing thing too, and a cultural thing. But I've worked with some individuals who they don't say anything. I'd be like, I could never walk in a house where I'm the one walking in without saying good morning, some type of salutation.
Yeah.
So I would say, I already got a colorful personality. I was like you, Bossy and Pam, like where I'm like, hey, how y'all doing? Good morning. Because once my day gets started, I don't really talk to anybody now because it's just me. But when I was in corporate, I was just the one who wore all the colorful suits. And the one that was saying hello to everybody down the whole detox unit.
It's important.
It doesn't matter. If you didn't say it back, guess what? The next day I still was going to say it again because you can't stop me from saying hello.
I'm definitely the morning coffee for sure. It's me. I am the double, what is it at Starbucks? The
double shot espresso.
The double espresso. I am the dopio of the office. Absolutely. You're going to wake up when I get there. Absolutely.
I'm just a morning person. I'm really, once I'm up, I'm like, I'm not, well, no, I'm a morning person, but I'm not a morning person. Once I'm up, I'm just up. And I'm chipper. And I think more or less because after I said my prayer, I'm happy to be alive. I'm happy. So, and I'm not going to let anybody squash that, so before I let you go, so we already ran over your time a little bit, but one of the things that you have, it says, we've been doing success backwards. And I just kind of wanted to know what that meant. Because I was looking at it, I'm like, I wonder what that means, doing success backwards.
Oftentimes we're waiting to cheer for ourselves. We're waiting till some accomplishment, but then it happens and we push the finish line. We push the finish line. So instead, thinking about our joy proactively. So like specifically, I talk about an exercise called the joy bubble, where just take out a piece of circle, draw a circle, or take out a piece of paper, draw a circle on it, and write everything that brings you joy. So then you're living from that, not trying to live and like wait for it to reward yourself. And it helps you because in difficult times, you go back to that joy bubble, take something out of it to try to yank you out of that difficult time and remind you who you are. When you're making decisions, you're like, oh my gosh, I have decision fatigue. I don't know what to do. Go back to that joy bubble. There's a clear delineator in I like spreadsheets versus I like strategy. I'm strategy. I'm not spreadsheets. So, you can use joy to push you forward rather than be reactive to it at some finish line that you may or may not get to.
Okay. Wow. Does anyone else have anything for Bossy before we stop using her time up right now? Although I feel like she's enjoying her time here. So
I like you all. I'm like, what's happening? Am I trying to get more people on my Joy Squad? I'm gonna have to send y'all a sticker for the Joy Squad too.
Yes.
It has been a joy to have you here for sure.
Yes, definitely. Definitely.
100%, and extremely learning. And I mean, for one, you came on to a podcast that's always filled with joy. And one thing I would say is I'm not sure if mine is more joy as much as it is gratitude. Joy is a part of my gratitude. And so I live in this constant place of gratitude. And I think that constantly enables me to have joy, because as soon as anything happened, I go to my gratitude garden and my little, I've learned visualization. So I have envisioned an entire garden, and I sow seeds when I need things. So if I need a little bit of patience right now, I'm like, you know what, let me go to my gratitude garden and plant some patience, because it needs to be planted in order for me to take from. So as I'm taking from it, I'm also planting. So I'm always in in bloom. That's what I'll say. And so for me, that helps me live in a constant state of joy, because I'm not allowing anything to steal that. And if so, I go to my gratitude garden, and for whatever it is, I'm able to get what I need to bring that joy back.
I love
that. And it's important for me. So do you have anything that you would like to add? Are you going to be anywhere? Where can people find your book? Where can people follow you, get information from? And then, leave with one small little saying or something where it's about winning when it comes to success and joy.
When it comes to success and joy. Okay, so where you can find me, I am really big on LinkedIn, Instagram, all the things, and it's at Goal and Grind. So the name of my company, because we're setting big goals and we're grinding them out one step at a time. And the book is sold everywhere. It is on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. You can go to thebookshop.org, and that will empower you to make sure that your local independent bookstore is getting the revenue from it. I'm also available for bulk selling. And so organizations that want to buy 100 or more books, they can get in touch directly with me at info@goalandgrind.com. And not only will they get a discount for bulk buying, they'll also get a fireside chat with me for their team, their customer appreciation event, et cetera, et cetera. Now, for that last piece of inspiration, it really is to not let anybody should on your life, and instead let your joy lead you.
Yeah.
I love it. And since we're talking about winning really quick, and you were on there, and one of the things that we start our podcast off with is we celebrate wins, no matter how big or how small. What is your win for today?
So my win for today is not just that the book came out yesterday, but my win is that it came out with a bang. We hit Amazon bestseller. I had dinner with 16 of my closest friends last night, and they surprised me wearing the book colors, all these different things. Some of them wore pink nails, because I've worn pink nails for like 5 years. It was just, it was really special to see how they showed up, not just physically, but also emotionally and just supportive. So I'm grateful. I'm very grateful. It was a group effort. Oh, that's it. So everybody remember, goal crushing is a team sport. Like nothing I've done is just me.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We're definitely going to have you back, and talk about a little bit more about you and about your book, and seeing how the success of your book went. Everybody go out and, celebrate Bossy and buy her book, get that fireside chat, because if you thought she dropped some gems today, I can only imagine the gems that she can do during a fireside chat. So thank you again for coming out. We definitely appreciate you, and you know where to find us if you want to come back on.
Yes, thank you so much for having me, ladies. I am so happy to see that you all have each other, and it was an honor and a joy to be here today.
All right. Have a great, amazing week ahead. And again, good luck on your book. Can't wait to find out and get more information about how things have been going. So definitely tap back in.
Yes.
I will. Thank you.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. I love her.
The
energy. And first of all, I was a little tired today, and then I went to dance, and that cheered me up. Now I'm gonna be up all night. Be up all
Look
night.
at you winning on Wednesday. It's just you just keep winning. Come on.
I know it's always great to have guests, and I know it's been a while since we've had a guest come on. But when we do come on, they are such quality individuals and such professional people who are everything that Herspiration Happy Hour stands for. And so we just gotta love it. So, happy to have had her on. Another applause for her because she did such a great job.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I love how she last shared about her friends showing up for her and wearing the same colors and all of that. So beautiful. Beautiful.
That was a good example of the Joy Squad.
That is
I
sweet.
know.
So Cortina, I gotta ask you, like, do you have on a dress or is that just a shirt? Is it a shirt?
No, it's a dress.
Let me see it because I'm loving. I am into green real big right now. Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, it's a dress.
Is it flowy?
It is.
Bottom?
Yeah.
That's cute. I'm loving this. I'm loving
I didn't feel like ironing today dress, and I had to see. Stop it! I had to see clients. I'm sorry, I was talking to my dog.
Oh, you're very welcome. It was definitely a joy and an honor, to have you on as well. Oh my gosh, she's amazing.
Yes,
okay,
it was so good. And then the time went by quick.
I know. I was like, I looked at the time. Now, I'm wearing down on her time. I hope she don't mind.
Oh, you know what I love? My 2 takeaways for her. The first one is, how did she say it? A girl from Oklahoma, but a woman in Chicago.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Come on, bossy. And then I love how she said gold crushing is a team sport.
Team sport.
Still with the kids. I love that. Yeah.
The other thing that I really loved, which is pivotal, and sometimes we don't know how pivotal it is, when she said how her mother raised her.
Oh yeah, yes.
How her
joy.
Yeah, protected her joy and let her do and be anything that she wanted to be and supported it. And those things matter. And I resonated with that because I was that child that was in everything. My mom never really said, I'm not going to put you in this. I can't afford this. I was in everything just because I wanted to try everything out and just do everything. Gifted writer. I knew how to draw and I got to paint my room 50,000 times if I wanted different colors. I just got to be very free in my home. And I guess what I should have asked is, and because one of the things that I have learned, and that's one of the first things I put out in my book that I wrote, it's you can have the perfect life at home, but it's the world that breaks children when they step into it. They try to tank the dreams and cause mental or physical harm or affect the psyche. And sometimes that's at a very young age. And I would have loved to know how her mother was able to protect her from the world, because Lord knows kids go to school, kids are cruel because they don't have the same upbringing and all of these different things. And parents are just as bad. Family members are just as bad. And so it just made me wonder, like, wow, it's very interesting because like in my house, we was always very protected. We was always very happy children, but it's that world that is very different, but and gives you a different purview of not saying that your home life is not reality, because you get to be and do whatever you want and feel safe in your home. But to that world, you're met with criticism, different levels of disappointment, different things, people saying that you're never going to make it and that's not me or whatever. But I'm just saying, but things that different kids actually hear to tear them down. So I'm just wondering, like, how does a parent protect their children from that type of thing, not to have their joy stolen? And it's given back when you walk in the house, but you still got to have it taken out there at a young age. So, and Cortina, maybe you can shed some light on that from a therapeutic standpoint, but that's what resonated with me. And it made me feel joy to know that I grew up like that in a home, but outside was very different for me.
I think one of the things that's important is not putting adult problems on children. You know how sometimes even just by mere of exposure to conversations that you might be having with your friends, even if you're not directly talking to your children worry. And so I think making sure that you are mindful when you're having certain conversations in the presence of children. I think that's one way of protecting peace, so they don't take on too much too soon. I think it's giving them a soft place to land. If they come home and they've had a bad day, even if they make a decision that you might not agree with, before you jump down their throat, give them a little bit of support. They already know they messed up, so you don't need to beat them down that they messed up, but you guide them with love and correction. And there's a way to do that. So the world done beat me up already. Now I got to come home and be beat on by my either sometimes physically or emotionally by my parents. And I think being mindful of the way you talk to your children, I think having because there are just some people, they be talking to their kids crazy. I'm talking
reckless.
About like 9 years old. Why is your mother cursing you out first thing in the morning? I've never, like, there's no reason why any parental figure should be calling you at an adolescent age like a bitch or a hoe or anything like that. I don't know if you said that, but any of those type of, like, or calling you stupid MF, like, you talking to these kids like they are somebody on the street. Like, I think that takes away their ability to see you as a soft place to land. Like, you can't protect my peace because you're the one that's taking it from me. And so being mindful of how you are engaging and interacting with individuals. And sometimes I might not have my peace protected at home, but it might be an aunt that helps me to protect my peace. It might be a godmother. It might be a teacher. It might be a friend's mom. So even for any of you who don't have children or you have adult children, I mean, you can still, be the peace where your kids feel like they can still talk to you. Because one of the things we got to remember, when kids are kids, they have to depend on us. And a lot of parents, they wonder why their kids don't even want to have anything to do with them when they get older. Well, you got to reflect on the way that they were treated. Do your kids even like you? And if they don't like you, what was your part in them not liking you? So if your kids actually like to talk to you, well, you should consider yourself lucky. So if you want that type of relationship moving forward with your kids, you have to think about, what is it that I'm doing that's jeopardizing their peace? And that doesn't mean be a parent that they can walk all over, a pity pat, Skittles and rainbows. I'm going to enable you to do all these other things. That's not what that means. What it means is, I can have a conversation with you. I can still hold you accountable. You can still experience what consequences are, but I don't have to do it in a demeaning, degrading way.
Yeah. Thank you for that, for sharing. Because I mean, I asked the question, but I do think it's important that there be some level of answer to help inspire or educate those who watch this show or play it back and listen to it on audio. And so some people are looking for a way that they can engage their children better because they want to be better. This is also how you can break some of the generational curses. And, for some people who grew up in a home where they were at a young age or teenagers being called bitchs or hoes or any other thing. And so they make a choice to change that dynamic. So, Shay, where can everybody find you at, follow you, connect with you? Do you have anything coming up or going on that you would like to share?
Not right now, but you can find me at www.thecoachofcourage.com or at The Coach of Courage on Instagram.
And Dr. Lewis?
You can find me at The Girlfriend Therapist and at the Noir, NOIR Center, and at Smile, SMILE Facilitation Services on all social media platforms. Yes, I have nothing going on except for going to go get my baby. Oh, and I'm going to the Floor Chief concert on Sunday. I'm going to the concert by myself.
Okay. A little self-dating time for yourself.
Kind of. Yeah, I had a self-date this past Sunday. I'm going to go see Michael Jackson.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. One more winning Wednesday. Okay. Cortina, just thank you, because it's really one call, that's all, seriously. Okay. Like, I don't know who the big sis or the little sis, because sometimes you listen. But anyway, I called and was like, please go to the house for me. And honey, Cortina showed up. She let these babies out. and and that was such a big deal for me.
And at first I was scared. I thought they were gonna eat me, baby. I thought they was gonna tear me apart. I was scared. I ain't gonna lie. I was like, I can't even get close to the cage. But yeah, dang. Absolutely.
Babies.
The biggest one was the babiest one.
Oh,
Making all that weird noise. Yes.
That's what family's for.
Well, exactly. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Again.
So you can find me on all social media platforms at IAMDRPGURLEY. I am Dr. P. Gurley, also at the Brown Girl and Brown Boy Literacy Foundation and Brown Girl, Brown Boy series. And of course, you can follow the Herspiration Happy Hour on all social media platforms. I do have some news. On Saturday, I will be at the Annapolis Book Fair signing books. So you can find me there, I think, from about 10. I'm not staying all day. I'll probably be there from like 10 to 2 because I'm celebrating my bonus baby's 18th birthday this weekend as well. So I have to get home for her birthday party, birthday party celebration. And so it's going to be a busy week. Again, it's a busy week. It's going to be a busy weekend as well, but I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to engaging with people. I always love signing and selling books, but I think more so I like engaging and talking to book readers because there's a level of inspiration that just comes with connecting with your audience and people who buy your books from you or want to know your story more. And especially when you inspire them to write their own story, because that's a lot of what people always say when they're talking to me. I've always wanted to write a book. And so you can also build your network that way. So I'm looking forward to going out there. So if you were in the DC metro area, I'll be out in Annapolis at the Annapolis Book Festival. Mm-hmm. There is nothing else. Of course, you will find us here next week, same time, same place. Of course, always interesting cocktails and conversation. So have an amazing week and weekend ahead. We are over the hump now. Tomorrow's Thursday. Have a great one. And as we always say before we end this podcast, cheers. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This is Herspiration Happy Hour.